welcome to Creators and Coffee. I'm Erica from Autofluencer, and with me today is Solomon Lunger, who you may also know as the Ford Era. Hey, Solomon.
What up, Erica? Thank you for having me today. How's it going?
Thank you for being here. It is going awesome, and even better now that you are here, because I was really excited to have you on and to educate our audience around the journey you've taken, which I think is something that I think your first part of your career was something a lot of people that are creators in the automotive aftermarket would have loved your original day job, right? Would have thought it's the coolest. But
It
then you
was.
took it a step further and became, went full time and really followed your heart and did your own thing. And so I think your story, I think a lot of people there's a ton to learn from that. So I'd love for us to tell people a little bit about, how did you get started in the aftermarket automotive, a little bit of that backstory, and what was it that you were doing day in and day out?
My dream was always to build classic cars or trucks, and I wanted to figure out how to get into doing that. When I was, 15, 16, I was doing graphic and web design, and I had a really crappy car club with some of my buddies with some just rusty muscle cars that we thought were cool, but nobody else did. And I went to a car show and I saw a group of really cool cars, and they were a car club. And then I Googled them. They had a really bad website. The next time I saw them all together, I asked who the person in charge was. I got to know him. I asked him if he wanted me to build him a free website, built him a website. Then he's like, hey, I need you to give me some photos. I told him. And he's like, we don't really have any. And we went to Best Buy. He bought me a camera and said, just follow us around and take the pictures that you need. So
Wow.
I did that, and it was a lot of fun. And then I already had the camera, so I just kept doing it. And it was a really known car club called Swift Car Club. So I just kept taking pictures with them. And then a magazine called Rides Magazine reached out asking if they could use the photos on their website. Me and my brother did a road trip, did more, and then I got really into photography. And from 16 years old until, still till now, I'm 30, I've been a commercial automotive photographer and, worked for a lot of companies, shooting all kinds of stuff, working for manufacturers and then magazines. And then in 2020, the whole magazine industry got kind of scared because of COVID. Everybody got kind of scared. They furloughed everybody, and I got out of my contract, which let me have my own YouTube channel. So I started my YouTube channel again. It was when I bought Gold Dust, which is my 1970 F-250. Me and my best friend flew cross country to Idaho, drove it home 3,000 miles. And by the time I made it home, I had a bunch of subscribers, not like a crazy amount, had 5,000 or so. I just
Oh,
believed in
good
it.
math, yeah.
I need to keep doing it.
Right.
And that was May 2020, and now it's December 2023, and I've got 68,000 subs on YouTube. And my Instagram, I already had an Instagram before I started YouTube, so that probably helped a lot. But my Instagram's doing good, and it's a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed the journey. I still am a commercial automotive photographer, just I'm very selective these days, mostly because of my time. I enjoy taking pictures, but I don't enjoy everything else that goes with taking pictures. So I like taking pictures of my friends' trucks. It makes me really happy that I'm the one who put it in the magazine. Or nowadays, I don't even mind just being the coordinator. If my buddy has a cool truck and I could help him get in the magazine, and then another friend of mine who's an aspiring photographer, have him shoot it or something, and then help him get in a magazine. Because it's weird, but I didn't set enough goals for myself when I was young,
Oh,
or I
interesting.
didn't believe that I would crush them so quickly.
Right.
So I don't know which one it is, because every one of my goals that I wanted to do, I hit, and now I'm what am I supposed to do? I'm only 30.
Right. Right.
It's
You're living
weird, but it's a good
yeah,
weird thing.
living the dream. Now, when you started, you kind of had, I guess, more of a natural transition, right, with 2020 and the furloughing, which I think nearly everyone experienced. So many people experienced that situation, and started to invest on the YouTube side, which you know maybe not the earliest, but still is a good time, right? And um, started to grow that. How for you? Because I think at the time the conversation around content creation and how to make a living out of that, I don't know. Did you know a lot about how to make a living as
No,
a YouTuber? Was that something that you were like, oh, I've studied Mr. Beast and I'm gonna,
not
or like,
not at all. So for me, it was I'm Jewish and proud and like really have like a weird belief in God, in like he's got me. And I kind of switched my perspective in like I want to be really happy in life and just do exactly what I think will make me happy, good stuff, and just do that. And whether it makes money or doesn't make money, I was like, I'm going to chase happiness and let's see how that goes. And every time I've ever chased happiness, I end up making money. And every time I chase money, I end up not making money and also not being happy.
That's
So
amazing. I
I'm
think that's
like,
the quote of the episode right there, which is so great.
yeah, so like I chase happiness and I've just been doing that. Like my YouTube channel is literally me chasing my happiness and hanging out with my friends. And the whole reason why I started my YouTube channel was so that way I don't have to have like a real job, even though it's a real job. But I don't have to have a boss, maybe. I guess yeah, I don't have to have a boss, but my viewers are my boss because they expect videos. So I kind of
Right.
do. But
Yeah.
in a way, you don't have a boss. So I was like, I want to just full time be able to spend all the time with my wife and kids and hang out and do whatever I want all day, every day. And that would be the way to get there. And to do it, I don't need really fancy things. Like, I want really nice stuff for my trucks. I don't need any of it. Luckily, the bigger you grow, the more companies want to work with you. So things become more affordable. Like people always look at me and they're like, "Oh, he must be so rich because he's got all these trucks." And it's like, no, you buy a truck for $1,000, then you work on it for a long time, then you convince a bunch of people that you will get them some views because you will, and then they give you some parts, and then you put it on there, and you still only got $1,000 in it. And
Right.
it's like you have to like work, and a lot of people I think just don't realize how much work goes into it. Like I'll show up at my office/warehouse at 8 a.m. and I won't I'll leave throughout the day to go get lunch and go for dinner with the wife and kids and then come back. But like 8 a.m., I usually don't leave here till midnight. So like
Right.
I'll leave for dinner, go home for like 2 or 3 hours, then come back. But it's like that's every day because I'm still in my growth years in my
Right.
head. Like I had a plan.
You made it say like, oh, it's an everyday, like all day with my wife and kids, but that's not actually the full reality. You have the flexibility to do lunch with them. You have the flexibility to be there at dinner or important
Well,
events.
I'm still not to where I want to get. I'm still
Right.
in my growth
So
years.
that's the vision. But I do think, I mean, I think what's worth sharing is, you put a ton of effort into it. It
Yeah.
is, well, it looks awesome from the outside. You think, oh my God, Solomon has the best life. He's always, either working on his truck or helping his friends with their trucks or seeing other people's cool trucks and interviewing them. But the reality is you put like a ton of energy in it.
Well, it
It's a
really
job.
helps. It really helps that I like doing it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of people, and I'm not trying to talk smack on anybody, but like, there's just people that they're a host of something, or they're more of the host of it, or even if it's their own thing, they're into it for the money aspect of it, or they do enjoy it, but they're more trying to make it a job, and they have to
Yeah.
check out at a certain time. Like, this is me every day. Like it's all I do, and I really
Right.
love doing it. So
Yeah.
it makes it fun. Like it annoys me because the more fun you have, the faster it goes by. And like
Yeah.
SEMA was like 20 minutes.
Right.
Like all year long, I anticipated, and then like I sneezed and it was over.
Right. Right.
And that's the only thing that's annoying is how
Yeah.
fast everything is going.
Yeah. Yeah. It does fly by. So, I mean, if you're giving advice to someone who, they're working a day job, but they're contemplating that, uh, starting a YouTube channel or starting to put some things on social, what would be your advice to those people getting started?
Start. That's the advice.
Yeah.
Just start. Like I wasn't allowed to, but like if you're not contracted that you're not allowed to, like start. Even if you're not great, you're not going to become good. I look back at my first photos, right? They're not on my Ford era Instagram. They're not on my Solomon Lunger Instagram. They're on like my 10 Instagrams ago from when I was a kid because I'm young, so I've had Instagram as long as I can remember. And it's like my photos weren't good then, but I've
Yeah.
taken tens of thousands of photos, and my
Right.
videos in the beginning weren't good, but I've taken hundreds of videos, and like I'll watch my old videos and my cadences are weird and I'm awkward and I'm stuttering and I don't know what I'm saying, and it's just it is what it is. But the only way you become better is by practice. And like Mr. Beast is Mr. Beast because he's had his YouTube channel since he's 7. And
Right.
he wasn't good in YouTube until like 10 years ago. But he's
Right.
had his YouTube channel for like ever. and you become better and better and better. And I think a lot of people don't realize how much work people put in until they get to that level. Like, yeah, I only started my YouTube channel in 2020, but I was a professional videographer for
Right.
5 years prior to that. And
Yeah.
I decided not to make my YouTube channel professional on purpose because I didn't want to over edit it and then I would never actually make a video.
Right.
So
Right.
like my number one thing that I would say is make sure that your quality content, not the quality of like the content itself needs to be quality. Don't
Right.
just make the production quality. Low
Right.
quality production, high quality content.
Right. That's great advice.
And
That's great.
that's how I run it. I run it just like that. I put out a ton of it. I don't look at any analytics, and you just keep putting them out. Every 2 days, put out a video. Every day, post as many times as you want on Instagram. And if people get annoyed, it's okay.
Well, I will say we did a collab with you. There was something at SEMA and on Instagram, and I think maybe you added us as a collaborator. I was like, oh my God, you're still like to this day, people are still viewing this like one reel from SEMA. I mean, you had a million of them, but we were literally launching our social at SEMA, and we're getting all these views. This collab, something that you had put out, and it really does show, the power of that engagement and that enthusiast audience.
It's a crazy good tool. Like I never thought this is what I was gonna do, but
Well, I don't think anybody
it's
that's
so
doing
cool.
it now. I mean, I think that's what's so exciting about the world we're living in right now is, people moan like, oh, technology or kids on their phones all day. Yes. Are there things we need to watch out for and be cautious of? Absolutely. But are there now careers and opportunities and ways for people to have a voice or tell a story or to get messages out that never existed before? And it's changing the way our world works. And some people might say for the worse. I say it depends on what you follow. And, when I follow great content like yours and others, I mean, I think it enriches our life. I learn every day just in, my Instagram feed. And so I think it's amazing. And I think it's
What I think is
awesome.
cool now is like anything that you want to figure out, you can do that. Like
Yeah.
my kids wanted to learn how to make a garden. So we hopped on YouTube and watched a bunch
Yeah.
of videos on making a garden and then went to Lowe's and bought some stuff and made a garden.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And it's like, it's easier now. Like back, I don't know, you don't have to go to like the library and find it until, I don't know. What did you do back in the days? People
We
need to tell
we
us.
did libraries. We have this old thing called microfilm, microfiche, and you put these
Yeah, you
cartridges
put the
in from
thing.
like old newspaper thing. Yeah, it was way old school. It was super analog. Now, one last thing. I mean, this is something we get a lot. We talk about you got these subs on your YouTube, which can vary very much from that meaning you making enough money. And you said you still contract, you do still some contract work, but I know your Ford Era stuff is a lot of what you do. But, you know, how did you make that transition of making money on YouTube? Was it through, the Google kind of paying out on the
Um,
Google ad side, or was it through
like in full transparency, I don't know that I've said that I've made it there yet.
okay.
Like I'm making money. Like this month is so far my best month I've ever had ever. But last month was my worst month I had in all of 2023. So
Still
it's just strange.
cyclical.
I would say if I were to average all the money that I get just from YouTube Direct or Google over the last 3 years, it wouldn't make sense for it to be a full-time job. But that's why most people, I think, they transition into it. I was able to transition into it. And even now, like you don't have to make it full-time. Like every day, all day, I'm not making a video.
Right.
So I think a lot of people, you could hold a job and grow your brand and grow a lot of it until you can take that part over. Like
Right.
I would say, like for me at least, a portion, of the money is Google itself. YouTube is Google. So Google, YouTube. Another portion is like my merchandise sales. Like I have t-shirts, stickers, hats, keychains, like all that kind of stuff. That's a portion. I've never cracked the code yet, but a lot of people get, monetary sponsorships aside from just like parts and stuff. I've always just been happy with the parts, but more and more it'll be nice to start getting checks. I think Autofluencer is going to be, helping us with that, right?
Well, that's the goal. That's the goal. Yeah. Is to help educate, which is part of what, creators in coffee too, is to educate the industry. And, we do conversations with the manufacturers and the brands and
And I also, one thing, and I've done it a lot, it's just I haven't it's not every video, but sponsored videos is a thing. Like once you get your numbers up, like right now I know like if I post a video, I pretty much know what the video is going to do numbers wise. And
Right.
you just talk to companies and you have to more or less not be full of it, but as long as your analytics support it and you're not trying to charge astronomical, like a lot of companies want to work with you. For example, Hot Rod Power Tour this year, I reached out to Autometal Direct, and I work with them. They supply a lot of sheet metal for me, and I was driving a truck I knew would be a good billboard. So I said, hey, how about you guys sponsor my video series? I'll make 5 videos for Hot Rod Power Tour. We're going to talk about how you helped us, with fuel and whatever else it was. Thank you guys for that. And also go check out their awesome products because their products are awesome. I use their floor pans on every
Yeah.
truck. And like genuinely, it's a company that I already work with. And I was like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Can you help me like monetarily? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. And it worked out for everybody, and just having those conversations and really just need to make sure that like your numbers are there. I think a lot of people think that their numbers are there and they're not.
What would you say is numbers being there?
It depends how much you're trying to charge. If you've got 10,000 followers, don't try to charge $500 for a post.
Right.
If you have 500,000 followers, don't charge $100 for a post. I mean,
Right.
you have to know your place. I think a lot of people undercharge, but I think too many people overcharge and then they don't get the job. I've
Right.
always been like, what's your budget? Okay. And then try to hit them a little higher. But still, figure out what their budget is. Like, honestly, like just talk to the company because the person that you're talking to on the other side of the phone, he's working for somebody. It's his job in marketing. Like, you make it easy. Like, hey, man, I want to do this with you. I don't know what to charge you. What do you think it's worth to you? And you just talk it out and you're like, that number doesn't sound good. Like, it's not worth my time. Okay, well, how about this much? And you just figure it out.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of what we see right now in the industry, right? I think everybody's trying to figure it out. And to your point earlier, I think that is an area where Autofluencer, through education and through the data that we're seeing in the industry, we can help to start to establish some norms, right? We can start so that an up and coming creator, if you're going from 10,000 to that 50,000, you kind of start all over because you don't know, right? Like as it grows,
every single
there
time.
isn't necessarily a playbook. So hopefully one of our goals is to leverage that data and to be able to give the industry, like, this is what we're seeing.
And what's really wild is on the company side, like some companies rock with influencers, they understand social media, and then some are like stuck in the Stone Age. So then monetary wise, like you'll have a company who totally gets everything and they're throwing money at it because they understand how much it works. And then on the other hand, you got these old companies who it's like an old boys club and they're just used to spending money a certain way with advertising. And no matter what you tell them, they don't understand it. That's what I think is so exciting about Autofluencer is like those companies will finally understand how valuable this type of stuff is. And then also, like, it's not owned by big corporations. It's all people like me. Like, I'm 100% Ford era. It's just me. I mean, my family and me, but I don't have someone telling me how to do this or how to do that. And I think when I worked for magazines, it was not that whatsoever. And like, not to make this about, bashing the magazine, but like my analytics are 50 times better than any magazine I ever worked for. And I can't pull any of those advertisers because those advertisers they're used to spending money with magazines, even though they don't know where the ROI is, but it's like, we've been advertising for 20 years with them. We're not going to not advertise with them.
That's a great question. How do you show a potential brand partner ROI? What do you do right now? Like,
I have a deck. I have a sponsorship deck. Yeah, it has all my analytics. Like, it has my Google and it has my YouTube analytics, my Instagram, my Facebook. It breaks down like all my demographics of like who watches, like how old they are, where they're at. I've got like statistics. It's got all my numbers and I show examples.
And then do you have brands or partners that ask you for then results on like, okay, how did this perform or how did this perform? Do they want you to give them back analytics?
I've got companies that want me to use their links so they could track it. Usually those companies already have their software, so they just give me the link and they're like, hey, use this hashtag or use this link or use this so we could track what your movement is.
Track on their own.
I've not had anybody be like, all right, after 60 days, send me how that worked. Because usually like my partnerships aren't, they're like ongoing partnerships. You know,
Right.
like I don't just, it's not like a one-time
Right.
thing. It's like you gave me a part for a truck that I'm going to keep forever.
Yeah.
You know? So
So
I
you
made
can
the
keep
video installing the part, and then I'm going to talk about that part every time I pop my hood or every time I'm
it.
whatever it is.
And with that, thank you, Solomon, so much. Such great insights. And look forward to seeing more of your content.
Thank you guys all for watching.